They chase eternal youth with syringes and scalpels, but in the end, they become the stars of Hollywood's most terrifying horror show, The Attack of the Melting Faces. Once icons of beauty, they now resemble wax dolls, unrecognizable. Is it the fault of the doctors, the curse of vanity, or both? From supermodels to colossal mistakes, brace yourself for a shocking journey through the aesthetic disasters of the rich and famous. And don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss the next developments in this ever-evolving story. She doesn't wake up for less than $10,000 a day. But clearly, Linda Evangelista showed up for 7 sessions of cool sculpting. Yes, that Linda Evangelista, the supermodel who once ruled magazine covers like a queen of the runway, now faces a disaster caused by a fat-freezing procedure turned beauty horror story. In the 90s, Linda was an untouchable icon. Her chiseled features, flawless skin, and stunning presence made her one of the most recognizable faces in fashion. But the same woman who once graced the covers of Vogue now grapples with the consequences of trying to hold on to her youthful appearance, leaving fans shocked by the transformation. Cool sculpting, once marketed as a harmless and non-invasive treatment, left Linda with an unexpected side effect: a condition called paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, causing her body to grow fat in the very areas she aimed to slim down. This stark change is a cautionary tale of the risks behind quick fixes and the harsh reality of seeking perfection. With cheekbones sharp enough to cut glass and a presence that commanded attention, she embodied the very essence of beauty. Yet, in 2015 and 2016, she chose to address some persistent fat with a procedure that seemed almost too good to be true, more like a luxurious treatment than surgery. Non-invasive, they claimed. Completely safe, they assured. But the outcome was far from what she expected. A rare and alarming side effect, affecting less than 1% of patients, called paradoxical adipose hyperplasia, turned her smooth contours into bulging, hard masses in her chin, thighs, and breasts. What was promised as cool sculpting instead became a nightmare she couldn't escape. Despite undergoing 2 corrective surgeries, the results were anything but satisfactory. The damage was irreversible. The face that once set the standard for an entire generation has now become a haunting warning. Its once perfect symmetry is now a distant memory. The paparazzi no longer crowd her every step, and fans struggle to recognize the icon they once adored. In an industry obsessed with ageless beauty, Linda Evangelista opted for solitude instead of seeking answers. From being the queen of the runway to becoming a cautionary figure in the world of beauty, her story is more than just a tale of physical transformation gone wrong. It serves as a stark reminder that even the most iconic faces are not immune to the dangerous quest for unattainable perfection. Before the scandals of Real Housewives, before the viral breakdowns that filled social media, Lisa Rinna's most talked about twist didn't unfold in front of cameras. It happened on her face, specifically with her lips. At just 20 years old in 1986, Lisa made a daring decision that would shape her public image for years to come. She permanently injected silicone into her lips. Inspired by the iconic movie Beaches, she yearned for bold, full, and alluring lips. And she certainly achieved that. In fact, she got exactly what she had envisioned, perhaps even more than she bargained for. At first, her lips became her trademark. Those full, plump lips that predated Kylie Jenner's billion-dollar empire by decades. But what began as a bold cosmetic choice quickly turned into a curse. Over time, the silicone settled into her lips, causing them to harden and form lumps, transforming her once sensual feature into something closer to a botched experiment. A quarter of a century later, Lisa sought help from a Beverly Hills doctor to remove the scar tissue. But by then, it was too late. The damage had already been done, like a poorly executed Botox session. It wasn't just her lips that received the enhancements. Lisa also explored Botox, cheek fillers, and even a breast lift or two, constantly chasing the perfect image. By 2010, fans were left wondering, is that Lisa Rinna? Or has Madame Tussauds made a wax replica of her? By 2024, with internet sleuths analyzing every inch of her face like a CSI episode, Lisa could no longer remain silent. She finally addressed the growing scrutiny, admitting that some of the fillers didn't quite suit her face and that she had opted to remove some of them. It was a brave admission, but the public quickly turned her transformation into a cautionary tale in the world of cosmetic surgery. Was she fighting the inevitable march of time, striving to stay in the spotlight, or simply trying to undo the effects of aging? Regardless of her motivations, Lisa's journey stands as a powerful reminder. When you chase perfection with needles, you might just catch something that bites back. Once America's beloved sweetheart on Knots Landing, Joan Van Ark mesmerized viewers with her ethereal beauty, becoming a fixture on TV screens throughout the 70s and 80s. But somewhere between her last scene and her first facelift, the script took an unexpected turn. It began innocently enough. A little nose job here, a subtle tweak there. But by the early 90s, it evolved into a relentless pursuit of perfection. First came eyelid surgery, leaving her with a look that suggested she hadn't blinked in years. Then the facelifts followed. One wasn't enough and neither was two. Joan's journey through the world of cosmetic procedures became a transformation that no one saw coming. On top of the surgeries, Joan added chemical peels and enough Botox to freeze a Thanksgiving turkey. The woman once known for her warm, welcoming expressions now appeared as if she were preparing for a wind tunnel test. By the 2000s, her face had transformed into near porcelain. Tight, pale, with hollowed eyes and a strained mouth. Even the most advanced Instagram filters couldn't mask the changes. When she made her appearance at the 40th anniversary of Knots Landing, fans weren't asking, "Where's Valine?" Instead, they were wondering, what happened to her face? Her lips were plumper than the entire season 6 budget of the show. Her cheekbones higher than the rent on a Beverly Hills penthouse. Her eyes were wide as saucers, startled, vacant, and devoid of emotion. Joan didn't just cross the line. She practically wrote the book on excess in aesthetics. While Hollywood can be ruthless to aging stars, Joan's journey is a painful reminder. The pursuit of eternal youth can strip away the very essence of what made you an icon. If you've made it this far, we want to hear your thoughts. Comment 2 if you love these jaw-dropping stories and want more. Comment 0 if you think extreme cosmetic surgery has gone too far. We're watching the comments closely, just like a surgeon checks symmetry. Don't hold back. She was one of the most titled women in the world, a living testament to European aristocracy. But Maria del Rosario Cayetana Fitzjames Stewart, the 18th Duchess of Alba, didn't just want a legacy. She craved eternal youth. And, let's face it, even the aristocracy can't rely on Botox to defy the natural laws of aging. Born into wealth, power, and grand palaces, the Duchess could have embraced aging gracefully with pearls and poetry. Instead, she opted for plastic surgery and skin peels, embarking on a journey that blurred the line between elegance and excess. Starting in the 1980s, the Duchess began a royal romance with the scalpel. Nose jobs, facelifts, lip injections, Botox. If it promised eternal beauty, she was all in. The goal was ageless perfection. The result, however, was timeless bewilderment. By the time she walked down the aisle at 85, marrying a man 24 years her junior, because why not? It wasn't her third wedding that turned heads, but her appearance. Her face resembled a wax statue left too long in the Spanish sun, forever frozen in an attempt to defy time. Tight, glossy, and gleaming, her face no longer resembled the delicate features that once graced Europe's gossip pages. Even more troubling, she was believed to suffer from Melkerson-Rosenthal syndrome, a rare condition that causes facial swelling. Rather than confronting it, She chose to battle it with one surgery after another, only making matters worse, like attempting to fix a leak with glitter glue. In the end, even her noble bloodline couldn't shield her from the unrelenting scrutiny of the public. Though she remained a beloved eccentric figure in Spanish society, her face became the ultimate cautionary tale. No matter how many castles and crowns you have, time can't be conquered. It can only be provoked. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and in the Jackson family, that tree came with a scalpel and a steady supply of nose jobs. LaToya Jackson, the fifth child of the legendary Jackson family, once had a radiant, unique beauty. In the early 80s, she was carving out her own path with a solo music career, sultry album covers, and a truly original look, until her nose embarked on its own shrinkage journey. By the early 90s, LaToya's nose had become a topic of constant speculation, mainly because her eyebrows now seemed permanently lifted, thanks to a brow lift. Inspired, or perhaps captivated, by her brother Michael's own surgical transformation, she followed suit and pushed the boundaries even further. With each procedure, the more she changed, the less she resembled the shy, graceful Jackson sister fans had once adored. Her face evolved into a surgical maze. Multiple nose jobs left her with a narrow, almost pinched profile. Cheek implants added an unnatural, exaggerated volume. Chin reshaping, eyelid surgery, and enough fillers to stock a small clinic followed. The result? A taut, waxy appearance that made fans question if she was still the same woman, or if she had become a real-life version of the Joker's sister. Her once warm, almond-shaped eyes were now wide and frozen, a result of overdone eyelid surgery. Her gentle smile had been replaced by a fixed, unnatural expression. Even her skin tone had shifted, becoming pale and almost translucent, eerily reminiscent of her brother's later years. But the most heartbreaking aspect of LaToya's transformation wasn't just the physical changes. It was what had been lost in the process. In her relentless pursuit of an ideal that didn't truly exist, she erased much of what made her uniquely her. Her story becomes yet another chapter in the Jackson family's complex legacy, one marked by fame, identity struggles, and the heavy cost of chasing perfection. Have you ever had cosmetic procedures? If so, comment 2. If not, comment 5. Dolly Parton once famously said, "It takes a lot of money to look this cheap." And let's be real, she wasn't lying, nor was she apologizing for it. In an industry where stars often go to great lengths to keep their surgeries under wraps, Dolly strutted into the operating room in high heels, fake diamonds, and a wink, making no apologies and keeping no secrets. Since the 80s, the Queen of Country has done more than just sing about heartbreak. She's become the epitome of unapologetic beauty, bold reinvention, and a fierce commitment to living life on her own terms. It started modestly, just a little tweaking, a slight lift here and there. But soon enough, Dolly Parton was diving headfirst into nose jobs, brow lifts, eyelid surgeries, and facelifts so tight you could bounce a coin off her cheek. Dolly always had a knack for turning everything into a joke, but let's face it, sometimes that joke veered a little too close to the Botox line. Over time, the soft, expressive features that once defined her transformed into a smooth, shiny facade that almost seemed unnervingly frozen. Her skin was flawless, almost too flawless, like something out of a dollhouse. Her eyes were wide, bright, and perpetually shocked, and her smile, while as radiant as ever, became less flexible. By the time she hit 60, Dolly had become a living cartoon character. She openly admitted that she wanted to look like a circus version of Mother Goose, and honestly, she nailed it. Dolly became the most vibrant living doll, part human, part fantasy, and completely covered in glitter. While many stars on this list retreat into denial about their cosmetic enhancements, Dolly embraced every procedure with open arms and even more enhanced features. She once said, If I see something sagging, loose, or dragging, I'll fix it, lift it, or suck it out. But beneath all the sequins and silicone, there's one undeniable truth. Dolly's essence has never wavered. Unlike many who lose themselves beneath the knife, she's kept her heart, humor, and humanity intact, even if a few other things have been reassembled. She's not a cautionary tale. She's the exception that proves the rule. But even Dolly would tell you, being Barbie isn't easy, darling. Goldie Hawn once lit up Hollywood like a bottle of liquid sunshine. Her golden curls, sparkling eyes, and quirky, infectious smile made her a true icon. But somewhere along the way, that iconic glow was swapped for something tighter, shinier, and a little too wide-eyed. When she appeared on the Oscars red carpet in 2014, jaws dropped. Not in admiration, but in confusion. Her face was noticeably different. Puffy cheeks, a taut jawline, and eyes that seemed permanently surprised, as if she had just stumbled upon a paparazzi ambush in her closet. Experts quickly speculated Botox, fillers, facelifts, and perhaps eyelid surgery that went a step too far, removing too much skin and leaving her gaze frozen and unnatural. The soft, natural beauty that fans adored in Overboard and Private Benjamin seemed to vanish. In its place was a face struggling to hold onto time, like an overinflated balloon. By 2017, when she returned to the screen in Snatched, the whispers only grew louder. Viewers couldn't decide what was more distracting, the comedic lines or the plastic sheen on her face. The reality of aging in Hollywood is harsh, and for Goldie, the battle with time became as noticeable as the roles she once owned. But Goldie's transformation became a visual reminder of the fragile line between trying to preserve youth and losing one's essence. Her smile still sparkles, but it no longer carries the same warmth or movement it once did. And the signature twinkle in her eyes now seems almost too wide, as if frozen in place, unable to blink. Goldie didn't disappear like some stars do. She's still bold, outspoken, and very much present. But her face now tells a story she may never have intended to share. A story not about vanity, but about vulnerability, wrapped in surgical bandages and the weight of optimistic expectations. Pixie Fox set her sights on achieving the smallest waist possible in 2015, and she was willing to go to extreme lengths to make it happen. She began wearing a corset every day, tightly lacing it in as a symbol of her unwavering determination. The initial results were jaw-dropping. Her waist shrank to just 18 inches, a size that garnered attention worldwide. But Pixie didn't stop there. Fueled by her desire to sculpt her body into a living masterpiece, she made a daring choice: to have 6 ribs removed. This wasn't just a surgery. It was a bold statement that her pursuit of the extreme and the unconventional would remain unstoppable. Before stepping into the fateful surgery room, Pixie Fox had already transformed herself through a series of cosmetic procedures. Brazilian butt lifts, thigh liposuction, for nose surgeries, cheek and lip fillers, for breast augmentations, mini brow lifts, permanent makeup, and regular Botox injections. In total, she spent over 200,000 pounds to mold herself into a symbol of perfection. The rib removal surgery, which lasted 4 hours, was a significant milestone. But Pixie insisted that her journey was far from over. Beneath the glitter and glamour, however, lay moments of intense pain, health risks, and the relentless pressure of society's watchful gaze. She now calls herself Paulina, but is that truly the real Pixie, or just another version of herself shaped by her own pursuit of extreme beauty? Pixie Fox is not just a name in the world of cosmetic surgery. She represents personal freedom and the courage to live authentically. Each surgery she undergoes is a step toward the version of herself she envisions as perfect. But her journey is about more than just physical transformation. It's a story of a soul yearning to be seen, to be recognized for who she truly is, The scars, the needles, and the painful recovery days have taught Pixie that real beauty doesn't lie in measurements or external validation, but in having the courage to live true to oneself. Her story serves as a powerful reminder that, no matter how you choose to define your identity, the most important thing is to find peace within. Dare to live life on your own terms, but never let external expectations drown out the voice inside you. True beauty is found when you are in harmony with yourself, not with the world's standards. He knew when to hold on, when to let go, but clearly he didn't know when to stop with cosmetic surgery. Country music legend Kenny Rogers possessed a voice as smooth as Tennessee whiskey and the rugged charm of a Marlboro man, until his eyebrows suddenly shot up to the sky. By the late 90s, as the inevitable march of time began to show its toll under the bright lights, Kenny opted to fight aging with the scalpel. Not just once, but multiple times. Instead of embracing the silver fox look, he chose a series of surgeries, each one altering his natural features, leaving him looking more like a man trying to outrun the clock than the iconic figure he had once been. First came the eyelid lift, then the facelift. After that, it was anyone's guess. One day, he still resembled the country star we all knew, and the next, it was as if he had stepped out of a sci-fi movie where everyone had the same startled expression. Fans were left baffled. Is that really Kenny Rogers? They'd ask, squinting like they were trying to solve an optical illusion. His once warm, familiar eyes were pulled tight, and the signature wrinkles that added character to his face were gone. It was as if he'd traded his rugged cowboy charm for a wax museum version of himself, one that looked perpetually anxious. And oh, Kenny knew it. He knew exactly what was happening, even if the fans were left struggling to recognize him. He openly admitted, "Regret," he said, simply as that. The surgeries didn't give him the youthful look he had hoped for. Instead, they stripped away the rugged masculinity that had made him an iconic figure. His new face no longer reflected the soul of the man who once serenaded millions. Still, despite a face that fans struggled to recognize, his voice remained unchanged, still wrapping around lyrics like a warm flannel blanket. Until his passing in 2020, Kenny Rogers reminded us of a brutal truth. In the game of cosmetic surgery, the most important lesson is knowing when to stop. Melanie Griffith once embodied the effortless allure of the 80s, sensual, sweet, and just rebellious enough to land iconic roles in Working Girl and Body Double. But somewhere between the red carpets and the constant paparazzi flashes, the pressure to remain eternally 35 began to catch up with her, and so did the toll it took on her face. By the late 90s, Melanie started experimenting with the Hollywood trifecta: Botox, fillers, and a facelift or two. At first, the changes were subtle. A smoother forehead, a bit more fullness here and there. But over time, the transformations became impossible to ignore. Her lips became overly plump, her cheeks unnaturally round, and her skin stretched so tight it resembled vinyl. By the mid-2000s, fans began to whisper among themselves. By 2017, Melanie admitted what everyone had already suspected. She hadn't realized things had gone too far until others pointed it out. The soft vulnerability that once defined her presence on screen had been replaced by rigidity, with a sense of distance, as if her natural expressions had been locked away in a freezer. She tried to reverse the damage, removing the fillers and pausing the procedures, but the Hollywood machine doesn't come with an undo button. What she lost wasn't just her youth. It was the very face that once told her story. Melanie's journey isn't one driven by vanity. It's about survival in an industry where aging can feel like a career risk, and the mirror becomes the harshest critic. In the end, it wasn't the scalpel that betrayed her. It was the illusion that beauty has an expiration date, one that society too often imposes. In the 80s, Daryl Hannah was the ethereal beauty every director dreamed of. In Splash, she played a mermaid, and it wasn't just the storyline that made audiences believe. She had a rare, natural glow, soft, expressive, almost surreal. Fast forward a few decades, and that glow had been dimmed, subdued by Botox. By the early 2000s, fans began to notice subtle changes. Her once large, expressive eyes now appeared tighter, narrower, frozen in a constant state of surprise. Rumors swirled that her eyelid surgery had gone too far. Then came more noticeable signs. Cheeks puffier than a Thanksgiving turkey, lips swollen like overripe fruit, and skin stretched tight, reminiscent of a Hollywood facelift ad. Daryl never confirmed the procedures, but she didn't need to. Her face had already told the story, or rather, it used to. Over time, her expressions became muted, the natural softness she once had fading beneath layers of cosmetic interventions that seemed to strip away what made her so uniquely captivating. As she gradually withdrew from the spotlight, focusing on environmental activism and social issues, her absence from the limelight became more pronounced. Admirable, yes, but fans couldn't help but mourn the on-screen presence that once felt so human, so vibrant. Daryl's transformation stands as one of the more tragic chapters in the celebrity surgery saga. A woman who once needed no alterations gradually became someone even she might not recognize in the mirror. Not out of vanity, but perhaps out of fear, the fear of fading, of becoming irrelevant, of being forgotten in an industry that worships youth as a religion. In her quest to hold onto an image, she inadvertently let go of what made her truly unforgettable, the raw, natural beauty that once set her apart. Bridget Nielsen once stood out in Hollywood, quite literally. At 6 feet 0 inches with razor-sharp cheekbones and an Amazonian confidence, she was an unforgettable presence in Red Sonja, Rocky IV, and in every room she entered. But as the years passed, Bridget didn't just want to age gracefully. She wanted to turn back time, and she had the scalpel on speed dial. By her mid-40s, Bridget joined the reality show From Old to New, a makeover program that documented every cut, lift, and injection. Facelift? Check. Eyelid surgery? Of course. Liposuction? Botox? Lip fillers? You bet. Watching her new face emerge felt like witnessing a sci-fi reboot. Shiny, taut, and oddly synthetic. The bold features that once defined her were now sleek and geometric, as if someone had attempted to redraw her face from memory, using a ruler. Her once captivating, expressive eyes had become narrower, casualties of overdone eyelid surgery. Her skin was smooth, yes, but unnervingly tight, as if it had been stretched just a bit too thin. The commendable part is that Bridget never pretended it was all due to green smoothies or good lighting. She openly admitted to the surgeries, even expressing satisfaction with the results. In a way, that honesty is refreshing, especially in a world where stars often claim, "I just drink lots of water." But no amount of transparency can erase the fact that Bridget's quest for eternal youth came at the expense of what made her truly captivating: her raw, fearless Nordic goddess energy. In her effort to preserve the legend, she ended up rewriting it with a scalpel. Suzanne Somers built her brand around radiant health, hormone balance, and the philosophy of aging naturally, all while quietly becoming a living contradiction with skin tighter than a Pilates strap. Famous for her bubbly role as Chrissy Snow in Three's Company, Suzanne was once the epitome of youthful allure. But as the decades rolled by, facelifts, Botox, and fillers followed, turning her into a paradox of youthful energy and ever-tightening features. The thing is, they weren't listed in her vitamin regimen. For years, Suzanne swore that her ageless appearance came from bioidentical hormones and green juice. Sure, that may have been partly true, but no amount of kale could explain why her jawline looked sculpted with a protractor, or why her forehead was so smooth it reflected light like a kitchen countertop. Her cheeks became puffier, her lips fuller, and the smile lines disappeared, almost too perfectly. Eventually, Suzanne admitted to using fillers and expressed regret. Some of the fillers shifted over time, making her face slightly uneven, like a picture frame hung just a little askew. The irony is that, while preaching about natural health, her face told a very different story, one of adjustments, tweaks, and tightening. Fans who once adored her girl-next-door charm now had to squint to find that girl in the mirror. Suzanne remained alluring, vibrant, and radiant to the end. Yet, her appearance became a quiet warning behind every health mantra she preached. A reminder that even those who champion the natural lifestyle can fall into the illusion of chasing perfection. Caitlyn Jenner's transition is one of the most public and scrutinized journeys in modern celebrity history. While her courage in living true to her gender identity has been widely celebrated, her path through cosmetic surgery sparked a different conversation. In 2015, Caitlyn underwent a 10-hour feminizing facial surgery, which included brow lifts, jaw reshaping, a nose job, and cheek implants. Each procedure carefully planned to soften her features and align her outward appearance with the woman she always felt herself to be. The results were striking and undeniably feminine, but not without controversy. Over the years, more procedures followed: lip and cheek fillers, Botox to smooth the signs of aging, and corrections to earlier surgeries. Her face began to carry the smooth, polished sheen of Hollywood, tight in all the expected places, yet with signs of having pushed the limits. Her forehead became as smooth as glass, and her eyes appeared slightly pulled, leading some to comment that she always seemed startled. Critics quickly voiced their opinions, for nothing in Hollywood attracts more attention than a drastic transformation. But for Caitlyn, it wasn't about vanity. The surgeries were part of a deeper journey, not to preserve youth, but to finally look in the mirror and see the woman she had always known herself to be. However, in a world defined by harsh beauty standards, Caitlyn's enhanced appearance raises a poignant question. At what point does affirming one's identity blur into the pursuit of perfection? How much of her current look is truly about gender, and how much is influenced by the pressures of fame? Caitlyn's story isn't a cautionary tale like many others. It's far more complex. It's a blend of courage, transformation, and the deeply human desire to be seen, even when the mirror sometimes distorts what we're truly searching for. Donatella Versace didn't just inherit a fashion empire. She became its living embodiment. Platinum blonde hair, tan skin, black leather. She was the very image of Italian allure. But somewhere between the haute couture runway and the flashing cameras, her face entered the world of haute couture as well. Restructured, redefined, and, unfortunately, stiff. It all started subtly, a little tweak to the nose, a bit of fullness to the lips. But by the early 2000s, Donatella's transformation was no longer a gradual evolution. It had turned into an extreme overhaul, a Milanese version of a makeover that left her iconic features almost unrecognizable. Her skin had a glossy, almost lacquered appearance, stretched tight like the leather she was famous for designing. Her cheeks were puffed with fillers, her lips swollen to caricature proportions, and her eyelids looked surgically startled, as if she were perpetually amazed by a jaw-dropping runway debut. But Donatella never apologized. She fully embraced the look, strutting through fashion weeks as if her face weren't the elephant in the room. In a world where beauty shifts with the seasons, her face became timeless, frozen in every possible way. Critics called her unrecognizable. Fans called her iconic. And perhaps she was both. cautionary tale about contours and a reminder that in fashion, sometimes more is the statement. But beneath the procedures lies a woman who has witnessed the rise and fall of a dynasty, determined to keep her own edge sharp despite the passage of time. If her face became a mask, perhaps it was armor. After all, when your name is Versace, fading is not an option, even if it means never blinking again. What could drive someone to completely erase their own identity in pursuit of a fictional, non-existent image? For Japanese model Vanilla Chamu, that dream was to transform herself into a real-life French porcelain doll. Her story is both haunting and heartbreaking, a journey marked by insecurity and a profound descent into the obsession with extreme beauty. In her pursuit of this idealized perfection, Vanilla underwent a series of extreme cosmetic procedures, gradually losing touch with the very features that made her uniquely herself. The result was a transformation that went beyond mere physical change. It became a tragic commentary on the price of beauty in a world that values the unattainable. Vanilla didn't just seek improvement. She was determined to completely reinvent herself. Over the years, she underwent numerous complex procedures, including eyelid surgeries to enlarge and reshape her eyes, chin implants to contour her face, and continuous skin lightening treatments, all in pursuit of the flawless porcelain doll image she had long idolized. At the peak of her transformation, Vanilla Chamu attracted significant media attention. After over 30 surgeries and spending more than $12,000, she could hardly recognize herself. While she achieved the appearance of a French porcelain doll, her features became so exaggerated that many compared her more to a cartoon character than a real person. The public's reaction was a mix of awe, curiosity, and harsh criticism, as they grappled with the disturbing extremes she had gone to in order to achieve her dream. But behind the makeup and countless cosmetic procedures lies a heartbreaking truth. The perfect French porcelain doll image that Vanilla Chamu pursued was never real. It was an illusion crafted by the distorted beauty standards of the media and unattainable expectations. In chasing that illusion, she sacrificed something far more valuable than her appearance, her own sense of identity. While her transformation made headlines and sparked curiosity worldwide, the true story serves as a sobering warning. When we chase perfection based on illusions, we not only risk altering our appearance, but also losing the essence of who we truly are. Martina Big, a German model and media personality, became a global headline due to her bold physical transformations and the heated debates her choices ignited. Known for her larger-than-life persona, Martina began her transformation journey in 2012 with a series of cosmetic surgeries to enhance her appearance. However, it wasn't until 2017 that she made a decision that truly turned heads. She started injecting skin dye to significantly darken her complexion. Martina claimed her goal was to achieve a more ethnic appearance, aligning with her personal identity. Her choices sparked intense discussions, raising questions about cultural appropriation, identity, and the boundaries of self-transformation. However, this decision sparked widespread controversy. Medical experts raised concerns about the safety of such procedures, while critics argued that her transformation trivialized serious cultural and racial issues. Many viewed it as a form of cultural appropriation, with some even drawing comparisons to blackface. Martina defended her actions as a genuine expression of personal freedom and identity, stating that she felt a deep connection to the Black community and wanted to use her platform to promote diversity and challenge traditional beauty standards. Whether viewed as a bold statement of individuality or a misguided approach to cultural sensitivity, Martina's journey raises important questions about the boundaries of self-expression, personal identity, and the complexities of cultural understanding. Allegra Cole's journey is one of dramatic transformation and reinvention. Raised in a strict Mormon household in Salt Lake City, her early life was rooted in traditional values, and she worked as a piano teacher in a quiet, conventional lifestyle. But deep down, Allegra knew she was destined for something greater. She made the bold decision to leave her past behind and pursue a career as an internet model. To bring her vision to life, Allegra invested $75,000 in multiple cosmetic surgeries, undergoing 3 major procedures to sculpt her body into a striking, distinctive look that would set her apart in the competitive world of modeling. Her transformation didn't just alter her appearance. It completely reshaped her life, turning her into a viral internet sensation. Allegra's story stands as a testament to the lengths some will go to in order to reinvent themselves and chase their dreams, even if it means taking risks and defying the norms. Although the details of her surgeries are not fully disclosed, one feature of Allegra's transformation has certainly caught the most attention. Let's just say her chest became a central talking point. This transformation was part of her strategy to create a standout brand in the fiercely competitive world of online modeling. While her decision sparked many debates, Allegra embraced her new identity with unshakable confidence. She turned her bold choices into a successful career, building a dedicated following and becoming a true internet sensation. Love it or hate it, Allegra's story underscores the lengths some will go to in order to redefine themselves and pursue their dreams in today's ever-evolving digital landscape. Mickey Rourke wasn't just a Hollywood heartthrob. He was a rebellious, magnetic figure with a voice that whispered like silk and a gaze that could melt asphalt. But when acting no longer satisfied him, Mickey did what many troubled stars might do. He became a boxer. And that's when the punches started landing, not just in the ring, but on his legacy. Years of brutal fighting left his once chiseled face in ruins. His nose was broken 5 times, his cheekbones shattered. He turned to surgery not out of vanity, but out of necessity to repair the damage. The problem? He chose the wrong surgeon. What followed was a series of reconstructive surgeries that left his face swollen, uneven, and glossy, like a wax statue slowly melting under the spotlight. Botox, skin fillers, and repeated nose surgeries piled up. His lips became unnaturally plump, his forehead smooth as plastic, and the raw intensity that once defined him faded beneath layers of failed corrections. Fans were stunned. What happened to Mickey Rourke became less about his career and more about his face. But unlike many stars who hide behind vague statements and blurry filters, Mickey was brutally honest. He openly admitted that his appearance had been altered by his attempts to fix the damage caused by boxing, and it wasn't always a success. He admitted his mistakes, acknowledged the failed surgeries, and then poured himself into his role in The Wrestler, earning praise for a face that could barely move, but eyes that still told the truth. Mickey's story isn't just about a misguided pursuit of vanity. It's about a man trying to rebuild both inside and out, only to realize too late that some things, especially the past, can't be stitched back together. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Please like and subscribe to support our channel.